There was a young boy born in Beirut, Lebanon, whose life began unremarkably, at least to those who didn't look closely. His father left when he was just 3, and his mother's career as a costume designer kept them moving from Lebanon to Australia, then to New York City, and finally settling in Toronto. By the time he was a teenager, he had lived in so many places and seen so many faces that his sense of belonging felt perpetually out of reach. Though he struggled in school due to dyslexia, the boy discovered solace in 2 passions, hockey and acting. The hockey rink became his sanctuary, a place where the chaos of his inner world melted away, leaving only the sharp clarity of focus. On the ice he was unstoppable, earning him the nickname The Wall as a formidable goalkeeper. But life had other plans. A serious injury dashed his dreams of going professional, forcing him to trade his hockey stick for a script. Acting proved to be a serendipitous pivot. With his quiet intensity and an innate ability to convey vulnerability, he began to make a name for himself. By the late 1980s, he had earned his first taste of fame, portraying a lovable slacker in a cult favorite comedy. But just as his star began to rise, tragedy came knocking. In 1993, the young man lost someone he held dear, his best friend, a gifted actor with an angelic face and a soul as wild as the wind, was gone, a victim of his own demons. The loss cut deep, leaving an unfillable void in the young man's heart. He grieved quietly, channeling his pain into his craft, though his smile never quite reached his eyes again. Life moved on, as life insists on doing, and love eventually found him. She was radiant, an artist with a free spirit and a sharp wit that kept him grounded. Together they dreamed of a future that seemed almost too perfect to be true. In 1999, they were expecting their first child, a daughter. They picked out a name, Ava. But the universe, in its cruel unpredictability, had other plans. Ava was stillborn, and the couple's shared grief became an insurmountable chasm. Though they loved each other deeply, they could not find a way to navigate the pain together. They parted ways, but the bond between them lingered. Then in 2001, another tragedy struck. She, the woman who had once shared his dreams, was gone too, taken in a car accident that left him reeling. In the span of a few short years, he had lost a best friend, a child, and a soulmate. For most, such a sequence of heartbreaks would have been paralyzing. But this man, whose life seemed destined to be shadowed by sorrow, found a way to keep moving forward. Perhaps it was his unassuming nature, his ability to find joy in small, everyday moments, or his profound empathy for others. Whatever it was, he refused to let grief harden him. Instead, he became a quiet force of kindness. He was known to give up his seat on crowded subways, to buy meals for strangers, and to go out of his way to ensure others felt valued. He poured himself into his work, transforming himself into an unlikely action hero, a role that allowed him to channel his pain into stories of resilience and redemption. And yet, despite his fame and fortune, he never sought the spotlight for himself. He donated millions to charities, often anonymously, and treated everyone from directors to janitors with the same level of respect. In a world obsessed with celebrity, he stood apart, a man defined not by his losses but by his humanity. For years, the public speculated about the source of his quiet melancholy, the weight he seemed to carry behind his eyes. Few knew the full extent of his personal tragedies, and fewer still realized how those losses had shaped the man he had become. But now you know the rest of the story. You know that the man who endured so much loss and yet radiated so much kindness is someone whose name you already recognize. For this is the story of Keanu Reeves.